Hello, this is Ohfour Mouse. I thought it would be a fun idea to go back through 2019, go through and look at all my artwork, talk about my life and everything. 2019 was a pretty important year for me. I tried a bunch of new things. I got a real good job and moved out on my own. And, I kept doing art through all that. And I've done digital art, since 2011 now. And I have no real idea of stopping anytime soon. Art's always been fun for me. I like drawing my own ideas. I like seeing something. I have a lot of downtime. I like being creative and having something to show for all my time instead of just like playing video games or something. I play video games, just not all the time. But in any case, I'll go through 2019, talk a little bit about each of my artwork I finished, talk a little bit about where I was in my life, and hopefully you'll find this interesting, or at least someone will. So, at the beginning of 2019, this was like from January 5th, I posted this on my Twitter, and I still have this same Wacom tablet I've had since 2013, this shuttle wheel I used to zoom out and rotate the canvas. Very useful to have all this at your fingertips. In December 2018, I was at MFF in Chicago. It was my second year there. And while I was walking around there, I was thinking I wonder how I could get more commissions or something. And then the thought kind of hit me. I was walking around Artist Alley, seeing all these artists selling commissions and selling little buttons and pins and things. I was like, I bet I could do that. So I was lying in bed in a Chicago hotel while it was snowing outside and it was dark and freezing. And this comes from a guy from DFW in Texas where it's like 90 degrees in the winter. So I was thinking that night, I'm going to be at TFF. And I remember thinking that night, you'll look back on this conversation when you're behind a table at TFF and you'll think I did it. And I did. But going back to the beginning of 2019, January, this was the first thing I did. I drew this because I wanted this on a badge to sell at TFF. And this was a really dumb pun idea, like a lot of my ideas are. But yeah, I swear that's mayo is what I called this. And I really like this dumb fox character. I draw him a lot if I need a fox character, like a stand-in for a typical furry. I call him Socks, which I got from Stereotypical Fox. He's cute. I love his thick green collar. I started doing blue shading over this white, and I really like how that turns out. It really does good contrast against the orange, and I do really like how this drawing turned out with this giant piece of bread, and very suggestive. As this year went on, I started doing more and more suggestive with my artwork, and I don't think I'll ever draw full-on porn, but I don't know. Maybe I will, eventually, but I can't show that on YouTube. Anyway, this was a commission from December of 2018 that I did. This guy was fun to draw. He wanted him giving a thumbs up, and it's a bit of foreshortening. Still trying to work on how to make this look better, how to make it look like the hand is really coming right at you. But this was fun to draw. And it's fun to do this very colorful fur and tail. And it was a bit difficult to make this white and black tongue stand against this white and black fur. Make this black mouth and black eye line stand out against his dark fur. Drawing black, or shading black I should say, it's pretty difficult because you can't go blacker than black. But this was fun. And I like these giant bubble letters with the stars in them. Moving on. This was quite fun. This was another badge design I wanted to do. I've had this idea for a while of Lucario. What does he do with that big giant spike coming out of his hand, out of his chest and hands? So I drew this idea, and I really liked how this turned out. I like his pose. I like I think you call it a action line or something of him, and I like how bright and light his face is and how round he looks. how bright this blue is compared to down here. It makes it look like the light is shining directly on his face. It's really cute. And I really love this drawing. I think this one is definitely one of my favorites I've done this year. But yeah, I drew this for TFF as well, as I did a few other things. Oh man, this is a really inside joke in the furry fandom. Like, alright, do a quick explanation, but there are these creatures that are protogen and primogen that are by this one creator, and he has very strict rules about what he can and can't do with his species. And one of the things for protogen, which are free to make, as opposed to primogen, which you have to pay for, protogen, you're free to make them as long as they don't have multiple tails or wings or metal on their ears or horns. So there was this meme going around on Reddit for a while that I kind of jumped in on. At first this was just going to be a sketch. I kind of did it in a day, but then I kept adding, more detail to the line art and more color and going back and forth until I ended up with this. And I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. And it was just for a dumb meme. But yeah, closed species, they're called, where you had to pay to get a particular persona of a particular invented species. It's a pretty dumb idea, in my opinion. Hot take. I'm sorry. So these are all the badges I made for TFF. Here's have this guy on the sandwich. This is from a comic I did in 2018 that I'm quite proud of. It's from this comic. I still really like this. It's very cute, and I do love Undertale. In any case, this one I like wearing myself. Shy, Bi, and Ready to Cry. I really like this guy. I like this small fox with his feet turned in on each other. Something about that I really do like. I think it's super cute to have a pose like that with the feet turned in each other. There's Lucario, good boy, bad boy. Always associate bandanas with good boys for some reason. And I like this guy. He looks like a little stinker with his tongue out. But TFF went pretty well. I was in Artist Alley Friday and Saturday, and in those 2 days I did these 8 badges, 4 a day. Took about 2 hours for each badge, and it really wore out my wrists, drawing with colored pencils basically all day. But it was really fun to do, and I definitely want to do that again. Do more badges like these for sure. Not sure about doing more digital commissions, just because the time investment that takes, but I do really like doing badges like these. A bit of different change of pace, and definitely takes me a lot less time than a full-on digital commission where I tweak and change things over and over again for hours. But traditional art has its benefits, I guess, in that respect. These two were for the same person. I do like that they have kind of like a color scheme going together. You can tell they're from the same person. This was from a fursuit photo. They didn't have any art. They asked me, oh, could you do this from a fursuit? Of course I can. It's really hard with colored pencils to do this many letters. Man, this was for a friend I drew. I drew this for a friend with his giant floppy ears and his reddish brown coat. And definitely want to do more badges like these at any future cons I go to. It's really fun to do. Really satisfying to do. After TFF, I did a few commissions, and between commissions, I did this comic. And I like how this guy is shaded. He's very cute, very bright. I like how his cheeks are kind of puffing out like he's holding his breath in. I like drawing him with the giant big colors. I just have a thing for really thick colors that are inches thick. Yeah, I just really like it. And I like this angel. Originally as Hugh, I was shading him kind of like this, where blue over white, but that ended up turning him too blue, so I just kind of had to scale it back eventually. White and gold. That goes good for an angel, right? I do like Devil Ohfour has a spike on his tail, and I do like. I was gonna have him say something a lot longer, a lot dirtier, but I thought like keeping it simple would be funnier. I was gonna be like, "Oh, you should be a super big slut that gets blah blah blah. I've had 14 werewolves in public." I could have written all my fantasies out right here in this giant block of text, but I think that gets it across pretty well. So these are some commissions I got at TFF. I'm quite happy with how all these turned out, particularly Timber. He just looks very cute and very excited, looking straight up. He has a very cool color scheme. I think all these have a very cool color scheme as opposed to warm colors. I like on Timber specifically, I added like these fabric-like textures on his shorts and shirt. And he did ask me specifically not to misspell Jurassic like another artist had. And when I sent him a sketch, he's like, "Oh, you misspelled Jurassic." It's like, of course I did. But I really like this pose. He's so excited, so happy, and very cute tongue and hair. Looks like toothpaste. Yeah, just very cute. I like Sammy as well. Has like the bi-colors in her hair. Don't know if that's intentional, but I try to make sure so the stripes make the legs look pretty round and the shadows make the legs look pretty round. It's always important to me to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. And I love drawing this line between the legs. Get that right. Ooh, that's what it's all about. Especially like seeing this line where the legs and body connect. It's very cool. I love that. Love this. This big long rainbow tail. In Siege, they wanted artwork based off something in Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is a pretty fun game. I played a little bit of it. I like the foreshortening of the lollipop coming right at your face and the words coming right at your face. And I like the different character design of the headband over the eyes and the really long hair. And just love the color scheme of purple and blue and everything where it works in together. Really dark purple hair, lighter purple fur. Just very cool. I like it. And they specifically wanted this Puyo, I believe, with the unamused face. After TFF, I bought myself an iPad and started doing some animation programs. One of them was Rough Animator, which is what I made this in. Rough Animator is pretty good for rough animations, which I guess would be in the name. And this was like my first dipping my toe into animation, which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but never really got around to. But I am quite happy with how it's turned out, and it was like my first real trying to do an animation. And I like the little details like his hair flopping forward when he winks at you. So yeah, this was pretty cool, but one thing about Rough Animator on the iPad is it's very difficult to export into off the iPad, just the way Apple is, I guess. But that's not really Rough Animator's fault. Whatever. After that, I went to this camping con, and I did these badges there. I went to Wild Nights, which is at State Park in Oklahoma. Wild Nights is really good time. They give you food, you put up a tent, they have a little indoor place where you can set up artwork and sell things and play some board games indoors, and they have a little campfire you sit around. It's a pretty good weekend. Definitely one of the highlights of my year every time I go. But I did these for different people. I wish I had a better camera while I was there. I swear these are not this blurry in real life. I did misspell these two letters. I had to scratch them out. But the good thing about the kind of color pencils I got, which are Prismacolor pencils, is they're not impossible to fix mistakes like that. So, and this guy wanted a thermos. That's cool. These are all fun to do. Definitely want to do more like these in the future. After that, these were commissions I got after TFF. This guy found me on Reddit. I love the thick outline around this bunny and his really long ears and his little puff of fur right here on his head. Very big, happy eyes. I actually did some of this on my iPad at Wild Nights, but I just wasn't used to the lack of controls. Like I'm used to my jog wheel right on my hand, so I can zoom and rotate the canvas out as much as I want without as much as I want. So yeah, I'm just not that good at drawing on an iPad as I am when I'm used to the desktop. This was fun to do. I love this giant tail on this person, but it was difficult to make the head look right with so many different features, like the purple right here and the purple right here, and the purple, a little bit different purple shading on the top of the head. Trying to make them all work together as much as I could, but it was fun to do this. And they wanted the same pose as this fox, this dumb fox. But I think I did that pretty well. And this was from a giveaway on Furry IRL. The mods got together and asked a few artists to do a giveaway, and me and some other really good artists that I was very flattered to be included with. So this was fun to do. I like this pose a lot. Very smug, looking at the camera, looking at the viewer and pointing at them. One little detail I really like is that the line on his eyes and nose and mouth is purplish to kind of go with his hair and eyes. And I think I really like that detail. And this shirt, this, like, all these colors on the shirt, isn't that difficult to do with just like a lot of layers over each other. So yeah, just keep your layers straight. Don't get gay layers. And after that, I did this artwork. This was, so the way I did this was like I had Rough Animator on my iPad. And like at Wild Nights, I did like an animation for this, and for this, and for the fire. And I put them all, exported them all to Paint Tool Sci, and like put them all together and did like all the frames at different times. And it was definitely more cumbersome than I need to be. I just had a bunch of frames I exported to and put them all together in a GIF maker. So definitely don't do it like that. Get a dedicated animation program like Krita or something. But this was just like kind of an experiment at the same time. I am pretty happy with how this turned out as far as the drawing goes. Like, it looks just like a comic I made just like come to life. But I wish I had spent a bit more time thinking about animation and trying different programs, I guess, because Paint Tool Sci is really not made for animation. Well, not like it, like, yeah, you could do what I do and export all the frames as like ping files and put them together in something else, but that's really cumbersome to do, and really you shouldn't do it that way. So I might go back and do this later and just do like one full through animation of like, instead of splitting it up into different panels. But I do like this idea, and I wish I did it better. These are commissions I got at Wild Nights. Quite like how all these turned out. This person, really like this guy. He's like a fennec fox, I believe. Really long ears, really blue eyes, and I do like how this turned out. This guy wanted the same pose as Timber right here. He saw that badge and really liked it, and I tried to do my best to recreate the pose with this dragon character. He's pretty cute, and I'm quite glad with how this turned out. Looks very, very shiny, I guess, with these highlights. This person wanted them in a gamer chair, specifically this gamer chair. Very specific, they wanted this. And I like the big curved gamer monitor, and the highlight is glasses of the light coming off the monitor. This was fun. These were the last commissions I did in 2019. Here, after this, I went to training. I moved all my stuff to a tiny little apartment and started training to be a programmer for 3 months, and it's a pretty good time. Met a lot of friends there. Definitely was a lot of time commitment with projects and working like full-time job in training and studying and everything. It was a lot to do, and definitely art took a back seat for a while, but I still tried to do it as much as I could. So I finished this one June 16th, like the day before we started training. I finished this one and uploaded it. I finished this like in a weekend before we started training. I remember specifically how anxious I was about starting and doing something totally new, but was also exciting. And sitting in that tiny little apartment that was like on campus at the college that we were training at, uploading this, man, really takes me back. So much has changed for me this year. this was quite fun to do, and it is really true. I like this character design. I try to do like different characters and as much as I can, just kind of draw different characters, draw different species I would normally wouldn't. If he has a paw on the back of his phone, it's like a human having a handprint on the back of their phone. I like this guy's color scheme and design, and I like him blushing so much right here, and this pose of just, "Hey slut, what's up?" by Dragon Daddy. We all need a Dragon Daddy in our life. You know it's true. After this, I was getting a little bit more risque with my artwork, just because, I don't know, I'm a risque guy, so I like this one a lot. You know, we're just not compatible, you know. If protogens had sex, would it be all about the transfer speed or the size of the USB? You know, using an adapter, and you can use an adapter, but it just doesn't feel the same, you know? This one, I tried something different. I like blended the line art in with the fur at certain points, like right here, and right here, and right here. And tried to make the fur like feel a bit more three-dimensional, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm very surprised with how much I like this, considering like it went by pretty fast and has a lot of weird things like the glowing blue and green are back behind them, and like this bed I drew in 5 minutes. But for some reason, I think it all works together, and I am really happy with how this turned out. Not too much more to say about it other than a USB dick and a USB vagina. I'm gonna cut that out. Oh man, this was fun. Another kind of risque thing I made during training. This was fun to do. This guy looks like freaking bubblegum. I thought a lot of these ideas, I just think of something for like a few minutes and they like, yeah, what would that be like? Originally, this was just gonna be like this panel and the guy saying like, "Oh, I don't think that's right," but I figured like, oh, what if he like put him on vibrate and answered a call? And I like that idea so much, kind of added a few panels for that. Yeah, otters. I love drawing otters. I love their giant fluffy tails. I love drawing otters. Otters are great. I love the little beans on his feet, and his feet going like crazy right here. Hopefully I can show this on YouTube. Man, this is such a dumb idea that it's so dumb it wraps around to being brilliant. Please don't tell me that's just me that thinks that. This another dumb thing I made during training. This was great. Let's see. This was from this drawing I made in a college notebook. Before I went to training, I looked through a bunch of old papers and old notes from college and everything, and I found this in the margins, because I used to draw a lot on the margins during college. And I really like this dumb idea. You notice he's saying the same thing I may have gone too far in a few places. I guess my style of humor hasn't changed that much since I drew this in like 2015 or so. But I do like this. This design of Ohfour, super chubby, super big head, super thick tail. It's really great. I love all the fur like poking out above the different bands, and I think that does add a lot of depth. And I do really love this ear that kind of bends in with the band right here. Little things like that I think really make this character feel a bit more three-dimensional. But I am very happy with how this turned out. It's very bright, very cute. He looks like so shocked at his current situation that he got into. I don't know. I think like these are just like regular bracelet size things that he's just so small. In any case, oh man, this is one of my favorite things I've done this year for sure. Oh, how'd you get so good at drawing? I didn't give up. I do really think that's true. If you want to get good at something, at a skill or anything, keep practicing, look at tutorials of people who are good at it and take constructive criticism, keep learning, keep going outside your comfort zone and trying different things, especially with something like art where there's so many different ways you could do it. Trying different things is always a great idea. I also like the kind of idea of like in this first panel, you're seeing the good art he's done, like this deer saying "I'm so horny" and this guy looking at a butt. But what you don't see in the second panel is all the art that he threw out that you don't see. I like that idea of like, I only show you the good stuff. You don't see all the struggles and all the deleted sketches and things that don't make it to in front of you. So I do like this color scheme of Ohfour a lot. Very cute, very bright. I experimented a bit and made his line art a dark purple and his eyes a dark purple instead of just like black or brown. I think it gives a good contrast with everything. Not sure about this character. Not too big a fan of his design. I think I could have done that better. And this one I drew at the end of training. I remember sitting in my old apartment I had during training, and it was near the end, and we were about to go home and like wait to get called up on an assignment somewhere in the US. The deal with that training was you would train for 3 months and do some interviews and then get hired. Get contracted out for 2 years, and you didn't have a say in where, but I was willing to take that to get some experience. But this one I made at the end of training, and during Anime Fest I went to, was not a really big fan of how this turned out. Not sure exactly what I could have done differently. I think like just like making all the drawings kind of fit together better, or make like the art style a bit more consistent between these four, or something. I'm just not a big fan of how all these different elements came together, like this checkered background and these white gradient around them. All these individually I think look pretty good, but I just don't think they can fit together as well as I'd like. So this was one of the more disappointing artworks I've done this year. Yeah. Might try this idea a different way later. I always say that. I always say like, oh, if you don't like this artwork, that's okay. You can always do it again later. And that is true. So, yeah, that draw it again mentality. Nothing's ever going to be perfect or as good as you'd like it to be. But you can always do it again later when you learn more and grow more as an artist or whatever. So, things don't have to be perfect. So, and I definitely don't think this is perfect. This is probably one of my most disappointing artworks I've done this year. After that, I really like how this turned out. Wow. This big. The large PP. Originally, this was going to be 2 panels. I was having this and this happen in the same panel with like him and a little bubble under him, but I thought like spacing out a bit more space between them would be easier to understand. And I did try like no words really, or like just symbols. And I have like little sleeping Ohfour in the background and a bi flag colors. I should add those in a lot. And this was around the time I started my current job, where I've been since September or so. And I could have moved anywhere in the United States after training. That was kind of the catch. But I ended up moving about 20 minutes away from where I started, still in DFW, and still able to see all the friends and people, go to TFF. TFF's like 30 minutes away from me still. So it ended up pretty good for me. And around this time I got my own place, started working 9 to 5. Pretty good time. Pretty good pay. But back to artwork. This was quite fun to do. And I do love this kind of artist design. It was like paws on the table. So cute. Looks like bread dough. Furries and bread, they go together, right? For some reason. And I like this design for the dragon. When I had this idea, I've always pictured a dragon asking for this super large PP. dragons, stereotypes. Furry stereotypes are interesting for sure. But I like this horns, and the different angles I've drawn him in each one. He definitely looks a lot thicker here than he does here for some reason. But I like this dragon. I like his shocked face. Like, wow, that big? Or just like, and gasp in shock. This was fun. After that, I did Hermitcraft fan art. Hermitcraft is basically a bunch of Minecrafter YouTubers playing together on a server, making videos together. And this storyline was about these three guys. They got into a hippie commune and tried to break into a top secret facility and steal back this guy's time machine. And I was really into this storyline when it was happening, and I wanted to draw something for it. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and draw something different, draw some humans, because drawing Minecraft fan art is in itself pretty fun, because they're just blocks and pixels and they have a lot of room for interpretation of different things. So it definitely was a fun idea to try to translate like these blocky Minecraft skins into a full drawing like this. This was based off of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure poster with kind of the time machine in place of the phone booth and the Minecraft Earth down here. But yeah, I'm really a big fan of how this turned out. I love how I drew these characters. They're different. They're each a bit different, but they have like very similar eyes as furries. How I draw furries, and I love the kind of action pose of his necklace slightly above his shirt, like he's just reaching up in triumph. But I'm a really big fan of this, and like the shadow kind of curves around these lines like they're 3D. And I'm very proud of how this turned out. And it was definitely very satisfying to step outside my comfort zone and be very satisfied with what I came up with. I don't draw a lot of humans, as you can see from all my artwork this year, but I'm very satisfied. Skills do transfer. Something I learned when I kind of transitioned from drawing 90% My Little Pony to 90% furries, I guess, is that all the things you pick up on and learn, you do keep onto that even if you draw something different, even if you start animating or start something totally different. As long as you learn how to learn, that's like the most important thing you can learn. After this, I got into animation. I was looking back on this, that other comic I did, this animated comic with the otter. Looking back on this and thinking like, I really could get into that. I watched a YouTube video on free animation programs and I ended up getting Krita, and I made this specifically to get used to Krita, get all like the shortcuts where I wanted them, figure out what I needed to do different things, and basically see what it would be like to take a simple animation from sketches and then lining it and then coloring it. And it was a long process, but it was very satisfying seeing Ohfour really come to life. And it was also good practice to figure out how I would draw him in 3D space, I guess. And I kind of used the same color scheme as I had from this comic. I kind of copied that. And I am very happy with how this turned out. And it definitely was a big stepping stone to really get into animation, or as much into it as I could. After this, I did this small little sketch. I really like this pose of his feet turning into each other and him holding his tail. It's really cute. Never really had an intention of finishing this. Like, don't think this is good enough to be a full drawing, but it is cute. I might redraw this. I say that about everything I'm slightly disappointed in. Oh, I'm gonna redraw this one day. But one day, all my art will be perfect. And I won't say that anymore. One day, I promise. you know, an artist isn't really an artist unless they're disappointed in their artwork. If you're disappointed, that's good, because it shows that you see flaws and you see that you could improve them. The big thing is learning how to improve them. Man, if I knew how I could make this better, like what exactly is wrong, what exactly I would change, I would be a much better artist than I am right now. After getting used to Krita, I made this animation, like my magnum opus for the year. This took about 3 weeks, which normally art takes about 2 weeks. But this one I spent like all my time on, and it took about 3 weeks, and I was very satisfied with how this turned out. It's Ohfour just kind of dueling something and saying, "Oh, time to draw," and then just saying, looking down, being dumb as the night wears on. And it's very true. So many nights I've just looked to open my paint program and done nothing, and then went to bed like, "Whew, that's enough for today. Woo, good work, everybody." But this was very satisfying to finish and work on. And I love little details like his hair bouncing back and forth, and the little bi flag in the background right here. His hair. I love drawing Ohfour, or animating Ohfour, and making his hair bob back and forth, making him look really alive. But yeah, this was a big step for me, because for years and years, I had been wanting to do animation. And this year, I finally did it. Originally, this was going to be like an 8-panel comic that I was thinking about drawing at the end of training in September. But I wanted to do this animation first, and then do this animation after that. And it was very satisfying to, like I said, get out of my comfort zone, try something new, do something different. And, you know, don't always have to be perfect, but you always have to try. You had to try, man. You had to try. Am I losing my mind as I'm recording this for so long? After that, I made another Hermitcraft fan art, Iskall Demise Dragon. Another big server-wide event on Hermitcraft was this contest where you're trying not to die for as long as possible, as other people are trying to trap you. And you got a dragon head with Curse of Binding stuck on him. And when I drew this, I had no idea it would turn into like a cult of like people with dragon heads. Man, that was really one of my favorite parts of Demise, was seeing all the people in dragon heads running around and walking forward with their mouth flapping, because dragon heads do that when you walk and wear them. But I am quite glad how this turned out. I like this kind of arc to him, and I like how flowing his tail is. And I started doing YouTube from the last one, doing like recording myself doing art and kind of talking over it, kind of like I'm doing right now. But I do like this, in his little dumb Dorothy dress and his fire red Dorothy hair and kind of dumb dragon goatee. This was fun to draw, and really garish ruby red slippers. And this was another dumb idea I made. First time I really shaded in a long time, but I am getting better at it. I like this character design. I always had like in mind like a bunny or a fennec fox for this guy, so I guess I went with a bunny. Now, bunnies are cute and very suggestive fluff right here. And I did want to add this little big rainbow to say he's super gay. And yeah, this was a really cute pun, and I am pretty glad how this turned out. I think this all works together pretty well with like the very soft colored background and very bright and fluffy characters. This guy is so fluffy, it looks like he has about 3 inches of fluff. If you poke him, you'd just like put your whole hand in, it would just all be fluff. But I finally remembered this idea of a fox like drawing his hand and doing the turkey. I finally remembered this during November, during Thanksgiving. I remember this like the day before Thanksgiving. Is like, oh, I should do that while it's still the season, roughly. and I am quite glad with how it's turned out. I'm very satisfied with his like snout. Looks great. I added like the whites over his the line art of the orange. And I think little things like that, like this particularly, really make him look a lot more three-dimensional. And like he has 2 layers of fur going over each other. Just little things like that I really enjoy. And you probably wouldn't notice if you just looked at this, but I noticed, and I really like it. And I love this fall background in the window. I did a few different ideas, but I like the fall. It like, makes it like a really warm scene, and very warm and inviting, like a cup of hot cocoa. After that, I did this. This was from this. I drew a bunch of sketches of Ohfour for this ref sheet, and I took this one out because I liked it so much of Ohfour just looking at the viewer, and I added in fuck me eyes and fuck me color. This was fun to do, and I kind of redid Ohfour's design a little bit. I had a bunch of more fur kind of flying off the line art, like I was saying. Little things like that I really do enjoy. Make him look a bit thick, I guess. And I like little hearts in the eyes. Little things like that I really enjoy. And I finally made a ref sheet. I'd never made a ref sheet before, but I kind of thought like, oh, this would be good. I saw some different designs of different mice and thought like, oh, maybe Ohfour could have a little bit of designs from that. So I kind of redid him a little bit, like make the tail a bit furrier, make the tail not so cartoony like this, where it's just like flat lines. I try to make him look a bit more realistic, I guess, not super cartoony. But this was fun, and I am very satisfied with this. I try to put a bunch of information, like what I think about when I draw Ohfour, like the number of tail stripes he has, or his cute pink collar, or he's so small, and paw pads. Pretty cute. And of course, it's open to interpretation. And this one I just finished, December 27th. This was fun. I started up doing some more badge designs for TFF 2020, and this was the first one I did. Why? Because it's such a dumb idea, I had to do it. A lot of my ideas are like that. It's such a dumb idea, I had to do it. You know, if it gets on my art like that. So I did do a whole video talking about this, and this was fun to do. After this, I did a Twitter giveaway for reaching 400 followers, and I completed this guy. This guy, he wanted like lightning coming down from the sky, and I don't know, I haven't really drawn magic before, but kind of thought like this looked like this, and have like light shooting up from him. A bunch of gradients I put over each other to get this effect of the light coming up. Didn't really give too much specific instructions, so I kind of took artistic liberty with the magic circle and the lightning and the glow coming off his glasses and eyes, and this book of like the letters shining bright white. So yeah, it was pretty fun to do this. Well, that's all the artwork from 2019. It feels like it went by so fast, but at the same time I'm very proud of everything I accomplished. It's been a pretty good year for me personally, and in terms of my artwork, I'm very proud of all the artwork and things I accomplished this year. I mean, not just in terms of artwork, in terms of my personal life. I went to training, like I said. I got a pretty good job going right now, got my own place, moved on my own, and through all that, I've done a lot more artwork. Really tried to do a lot more, draw a lot more consistently. I went to Artist Alley for the first time, and I tried animation for the first time, and I started this YouTube channel. So yeah, I have tried a bunch of different things, and I do think things are going pretty well for me, and hopefully my art keeps improving, and I keep improving as a person, I guess. It is good to look back, and look back retrospective is kind of like this whole idea of this YouTube channel, I guess. I am a pretty retrospective person and enjoy looking back at all of the things and see what I can improve, what I would do differently, kind of see how far I've come from however many years ago. It's a good feeling to see that all this hard work, all this time sitting in front of a computer drawing something, it really has paid off in terms of improving your skill getting better at something, all that. So definitely, if you want to do something, just go do it. Just start. The first line to draw is the hardest. So I do hope you enjoyed this. I do hope you had a good 2020 or 2019. And I do hope your 2020 is pretty good as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. And I look forward to drawing more in 2020. So I'll see you next time.